What's going on, everybody? It's Sean from the fightforfreedom.info. I'm your host as usual. I have Brian, Ed, and Holly back in studio. A couple of topics we want to discuss tonight. The first one, and I think the main one, is the Freedom Act. I think a lot of people are, what's the word I'm looking for?
Guided?
Yeah, good word. Misguided on what they think the Freedom Act is and how they feel like it's going to be like, oh, the NSA is never going to spy on us again until Congress tries to push through a bill, but then they're not going to let that happen.
Well, they gave it a good name to trick people. So.
Yeah. They also gave the Patriot Act a great name to trick people.
Yeah.
But so the Patriot Act, this was about allowing NSA to spy on us, correct?
Correct. Without a warrant.
Okay.
Like,
Well,
you
like
have
I
to
mean,
go,
like
yeah.
phone tapping,
Yeah.
data, like big collections of data.
Yeah, before that you would have to, prove that you have to justify
Right.
wiretapping.
Right. So now, this Rand Paul supposedly has filibustered the Patriot Act, let it expire, and now we're looking at the Freedom Act, which is, I mean, what people think that it is not. Like, the people are thinking that it's going to make it harder for the NSA. Unfortunately, the NSA has been doing deals with corporations like Microsoft, AT&T, Verizon, and all these other phone companies through backdoor and side door telecommunications. They've been collecting data even before the Patriot Act. And now all of a sudden this Freedom Act is supposed to make it more difficult for them, but it's just going to make it less transparent for everybody. So we're looking at even better spying than before. Because now, instead of them having to go to Congress with the Patriot Act, because they might have to tell Congress, like, yo, we're collecting these files from so-and-so regions and blah, blah, blah. Now with the Freedom Act, they're just going back to those back doors like that Microsoft has in every fucking computer that they're making. And it's not good. So if you think the Freedom Act is this great idea, do research on it, because it's not what you think it is. Anybody else got something to say about it? No?
Well, it's just giving government more rights to invade your privacy. Like, you're just giving them.
Well, no, I think it's giving them more secrecy.
Well, that too. But I
like,
mean, it's giving them more of a legal reason to invade your privacy.
Yeah, but
now,
at the end of the day, like, they do whatever the fuck they want. So, I mean, it doesn't even matter. Everything's classified. So you have someone like Edward Snowden. This is the reason this is happening.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And all this stuff's classified, so,
well,
they can do whatever the fuck they want.
You're right. There's like zero accountability with the politicians in government, with the police, the enforcers, period. There's zero accountability. But if you ever did have like a handful of people that were voted in and they were like lawyers and they had the courage to like go after somebody, like if you did have the courage, if a handful of lawyers who were voted in had the courage to go after another politician or press charges with the legal system that's in place, you would, the more laws that they write like this, it's the less likely that could happen. Like, now you just put in a law that you can't, you don't need a warrant to do wiretapping. So now somebody, if you have a case that's brought up and somebody was arrested for it and they didn't have the warrants and blah, blah, now you, a lawyer who might want to step up and fight that case wouldn't have a chance with,
right,
with more laws.
Because before they'd say, well, you need a warrant.
Yeah, exactly.
But that was with the Patriot Act. This Freedom Act is supposedly making it more difficult for the NSA, which is not necessarily the case. They're going back to those back doors that they already had deals with, these gigantic corporations, and they're going back to the same way that they were doing it before the Patriot Act. When they were listening in on our shit before, like Edward Snowden, they were spying on us before Edward Snowden dropped the ball. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
no one knew what was going on until Snowden did
exactly.
said something.
So it's like they
Or
were
released
doing
that
this
to
shit all
documents.
before.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Patriot Act was, you no longer need a warrant, pretty much. And now that that expired, we're looking at the Freedom Act, and it's not getting any better. Holly, you want to move over to a mic?
So, Ron Paul did an interview with Larry King
Yep.
about this,
Yep.
and Ron Paul was basically saying that this kind of scares him. He doesn't like the mixture of big business and government whatsoever, and he actually, Larry King brought up that in 1937, Hitler removed. He did the same thing. He did away with warrants, but he said it's because innocent people should have nothing to hide. They're innocent.
That's every
So-
government.
But
shit.
the Germans, that appealed to them. But that was Hitler's way of bringing in, how to spy on the nation.
Yeah.
And Ron Paul basically said that this is exactly the same, the mindset that the Germans had back then is the exact same mindset that the country that the United States has right now. They're basically saying, well, we have to be safe, let's just give up our freedoms because we want to be safe. We don't want 9/11 to happen again. Terrorists are, a huge issue now. And, they, it's interesting to me to see comparisons from World War II to now and the mindset that the Germans were in, the German people, versus comparing them to the people in the United States now. I find that
Well, it's very similar. I
Yeah.
mean, the propaganda with the media, I mean, all they do is sell you on the fear of Islamic terrorists. It's always Islamic terrorists. So, I mean, everybody, especially since after 9/11, is so scared of, like, Muslims. I'll give you a story. I was in a house painting for this lady. I won't name no names, but she was watching Fox News. This was probably like 2-3 years after 9/11 happened. And I'm painting her kitchen, and I just hear her sit there and say, it was a report on one of the terrorist groups. But I just hear her say, like, oh, my God, we need to kill all the Muslims before they kill us. And she was saying this to her daughter, which I'm in the other room like, wow, that's like so extreme, And that's from the media, and the media constantly pumps the fear. So right after 9/11 and constant fear of the media, citizens they don't even realize it. They're willing to give up some of their freedoms for these laws to think that they're getting protection, again, from like Muslims who have been fighting each other anyway for thousands of years. I mean, religious radicals. There's religious radicals in all groups who've been fighting each other forever. They're gonna come here on canoes, and come get us. I mean, I said that earlier, but I mean, it's kind of true. The only thing you would have to really worry about if you want to talk about that in real light is that you'd have to worry about them coming here on planes, really. Or, I mean, I guess you got interior terrorist camps, but if they wanted to attack us, they would have attacked us by now.
That's why.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. They just pump fear out of you. And people are willing to, like, give up something like the Patriot Act or the Freedom Act or whatever.
Well, here's the issue.
We need help.
Yeah. The reason why they got on the planes, with like 9/11, is because we let them in on purpose. There's no fucking way that they just got on these planes, pulled these planes off their flight paths, and nobody saw it. It's all about the government getting their hands on Middle Eastern natural resources. So, there's no such fucking thing as a terrorist until you look at yourself.
But if you like, if you talk to like your average person, a lot of people I like bump into, they really like. I mean, I'm not saying there aren't Muslim terrorist groups that want to see us destroyed. Like there is.
Now, yeah.
Like I'm not
Well, we're
saying
in
that,
their
and there always
country.
have.
They
But you
wanna
gotta
know.
you gotta hear some of these people do really truly believe that is number one threat to them. Is like they want in the Quran, we're all infidels. They want us dead, and like I hear a lot of people say that.
Well, have you ever
Which
read
kind
the
of like
Quran?
I'm like, yo, you really need to turn off the media, man.
Have you ever read the
Oh,
Quran?
man.
No, but I work very closely with a lot of families who are Muslim,
Yeah.
and there is not one hint, and they read the Quran every day, and there's not one hint that they show that that's their feelings. So it just makes me wonder, without us actually reading it and knowing it for ourselves, can we really make a statement like that? Do we really
Well,
know that that's what the Quran says?
I think the issue is that going towards religion, we've been fighting wars. The Bible's, however you feel about a Bible, like most Christians and Catholics, they're like, oh, peace, love, we don't want any problems. Like, dude, the Bible's shed a ton of blood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, the Quran as well.
Well,
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, it's just interesting. I feel like a lot of people scream, oh well, this is my religion, when maybe it's just being misinterpreted by both ends.
Here's the thing about like race or religion. Like people gotta learn the difference between that and like cultures. Like you had Bush after the Iraq War. Like he didn't even know the difference between Shiites, Sunnis, and Kurds. Like that's a problem as a president. People don't respect that. There's clearly billions of religious people out there. I'd say your average person, no matter how religious they are, do not want to see you harmed or whatever. But the point I was bringing with that is that the media pounds this country with so much fear that people are so scared of another 9/11, another Muslim attack,
Another
that they're
boogeyman.
they're willing to like just. Now we need, they think now we need government more than ever to really protect us, especially in today's day and age, And
What
then
you
it's
don't
like, yo,
understand
do
is
your
that the government
research.
is like red-handed in the whole thing.
Yeah, that's the issue. The biggest religion that kills is government.
Well,
And if you think about it,
in the last depends on what period
think
of
about
time.
Kings, queens, they had a religion, and they said, we're fighting for God, we're fighting for whatever religion we're believing in. They were the government.
But they did it for their own
Well, the thing
interests.
about religion is
We do it now
there
for
was
our
a
own
time
interests.
there was a time that the world was more polytheists, meaning they believed in more than
multiple
one
gods.
god. So
Yeah.
it's like during that time, people really were like fighting each other more for survival, food, empire, expansion of land, because you didn't know how far lands have gone. So like there was a time it wasn't really about religion. Then there was a time it was about religion. You had like some dark times.
Would you consider
that was
government
strictly like religion?
Would
like
you consider government religion?
I mean, yeah. Sports. I guess some people think like the way people believe in follow their team could be a religious. I've met some Yankee
I think
fans
that's
that are
a
like
cult. I don't know about.
I mean, anything could be.
Yeah, I mean anything could be a cult,
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
saying like people they go and they worship these governments to either save them or give them food and shelter and clothing and money, and like I would think that is all right. So maybe just in today's day and age, it is the biggest religion.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's
that-
the biggest thing that affects us, our freedom. Anyway, I wouldn't say religion. Depends on what region you're in.
But see, I mean, my thing is like, yeah,
But
it
for
does
the most
depend on which
part,
region
yeah.
because here in America,
No, it's
You can
not.
go-
Religion has no effect on our
yeah,
freedom.
because you could
here.
be Muslim, you could be. I
Yeah.
mean, even though a lot of people have a thing about Muslims, you could be a Jew, you could be a Christian, a Catholic, you could be whatever you want, and you're not really shedding blood here in America. You vote for a politician to go into office, and there's going to be blood on his hands.
Yeah.
And where does that accountability fall? So I mean, as far as like when I say government being a religion, you like these people, they're just blindly following this shit. Well, I'm saying in comparison to an actual religion like Jesus Christ. You ever seen the guy? No, but you see government all the time. You see government officials all the time. You don't see Jesus Christ. You don't see Muhammad. You know, and you got this wildly. You have a faith in something that you see the destruction of on a daily fucking basis, and you're still gonna believe it. You're still gonna follow it. I mean, is this a fear thing?
Well, yeah, I believe it. Me personally, I think, I think it is a fear thing. After 9/11, and then with the media, I think fear plays a big fact on people just going with the flow.
That's not what I mean. I'm sorry. I mean, what I meant to say is, like, are we afraid of the government? That even though we know they do all this fucked up shit.
No, that's my point. I think a lot of people puts the fear, like a lot of people you talk to are like, yeah, they kind of gave up on you'll hear them, all politicians are corrupt and suck.
Yeah.
But then they watch MSNBC, yep. CNN, yep. Fox News, yep. and it's constantly, Muslim extremists. And then after 9/11 with the of that happening, people seeing that, I mean, that was like the big major attack on, America. And it was Muslims were behind it, which I'm a questioner. I don't think it was. But anyway, Muslims are behind it. So right away you had like everybody's attention. And from that day on, when has the media stopped about Muslim terrorists? And it's like, so now a lot of people, I think, put it aside that they're more afraid of being another 9/11, which I've heard that. You don't want to see another 9/11 happen here. They're more afraid of that and more afraid of the Muslims, ISIS or Al Qaeda or the Taliban coming here and doing something, or Iran, than their own government. So they'll sit there and say, yeah, the government's corrupt. You can't trust them, but
But let's make sure they're still here.
Need them. We need them to protect us from this Muslim attack.
Yeah. I think a lot. I mean, this is from my personal experience of talking to people, but I feel like a lot of it is people are so overwhelmed with the amount of information that they have been told is a lie. So the lies are webbed so intricately around each other that it's so overwhelming that people they don't want to be involved. They'll do it just to go along with it, just to do it. It's like a numb chore that they have to do. it's like dealing. And I feel like definitely, Ed, what you said, I've seen that as well. But I see the other side where people, you start talking about politics and their body language changes. They just
they shut down.
Yeah, their shoulders get heavy. They roll their eyes. They're like, oh yeah, and it's like something that they don't want to deal with, but they do it because they feel like they have to. So I feel like it's a bit of ignorance, it's a bit of fear, it's a bit of, well, what else are you going to do?
But see, the problem is this is the biggest factor on everybody's lives. The difference is they don't see it with their own eyes. So like the federal income tax, you're getting taxed every week of every month, and then every year you're getting taxed. And you don't really feel it. You don't see it. You know what I mean? Because here's the money that you could have made, but then here's what we gave you. Like, no one ever thinks of it like that. They're just like, oh boy, I got X amount of dollars.
Then you get your tax return back, and you're like,
you're
oh,
pumped. Yeah,
yay,
you're pumped.
free money.
Yeah. Look at what they gave me. Well, no, that was like part of the money that they took from me.
Yeah, no, that's the money that was stolen from you. And I'm like
that's not all of it coming back to you either.
Yeah, no. They take $300 a week from me every week. So times that by 52. Ed, you're good at math. What would that be? 52 weeks in a year. To $300. You got this. Do.
You put me on the spot.
Do.
It's man.
$15,600.
Yeah, it's over.
So taking $15,000 from me. And then they fucking Have the balls to say, "Oh yeah, you owe us another $600."
Well, I was talking to Brian before the show, and we were talking about. I was telling him about like simple math with the taxes. I brought up you have almost 300 million people in this country, right?
I think it's over that.
Huh?
I think it's over 300 million.
Yeah, it's over. Yeah, it's
Well,
over
all right, let's say
300 mil.
300.
Let's just say 300 mil. Okay. Now let's just say half the population, at 150 mil, paid $5,000 in federal taxes. Dude, that's
Wait,
seven.
a year.
Yeah, in a
Okay.
year, that's $750 billion. You know.
$750
so-
billion.
That's the one thing me and Brian were saying like we liked about Ron Paul is when he was like running, before he was like running as a Republican, he was like, yo, I want a full out audit on the government and the IRS, you
Yeah.
know?
How much money do you need?
Yeah.
And like the government says, and the people buy into, the innocent don't have anything to hide. So that kind of, they don't want to do an audit. They don't want to be.
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. Like so if you're gonna claim
If
that,
you have nothing to hide, you shouldn't worry about it.
yeah. So why can't we do that? Well, because there's no accountability. That's fucking why.
Yeah, well, I was talking to a friend of mine, and you notice like most politicians are like have a career in law, right? Or like
Yeah.
a lot of them are like lawyers or whatever. And it's funny, like that whole world, like lawyers become judges, politicians, like it's
Yep.
all a whole voting thing. And it's like it's one socialite type of like class that's like it's their own little world, you know. And in order for you to, if you was to play in the system, in order for you to, audit the government, unless you were able to vote a Ron Paul in, is
would
by
never-
having,
never
corrigible
happen.
lawyers to sit there and say, go through the system like we're doing this and having the backing of the people and all this. But in order for, you're not going to get a handful of lawyers doing that because, or you probably do, but anyway, you won't. They won't have a career.
Yeah, not for long.
Yeah, you wouldn't have a career.
So I have a
definitely
question
get
for you
thrown
guys
away.
then.
What's up?
How do we get accountability where it needs to be? What do we do? Like, what as citizens can we start doing to have people in government, people in power, law enforcers, all these people that are not being held accountable? How do we
You need
start this?
You need a lot of people to
Yeah.
be angry and
Like,
wake
I would-
up.
I would say
I
like
think
50.
the anger is there.
Yeah, but the
Definitely.
problem
Nah.
is you don't have the uprising. So I would think you would need close to like 50 million people. You need a good percentage of the population to say, all right, we're all heading to Washington, D.C. We're all going to stay there until.
You also need media to legitimately cover these things.
But
Yeah, that's true.
okay, so let's say we get that. Let's say we do get.
Brian was saying you need you also need the media to have your back in that.
Yeah, which
to
they-
cover
they
you
wouldn't.
correctly on that. Yeah, which they clearly they don't.
None of them. And it's
I mean,
like-
just again with the whole fear, how they drive fear in the media. I mean, you're on it with the whole police issue with the shootings. I mean, all they do is show you how the police shot an innocent, a black person, an unarmed black person, an unarmed
I feel
black
like the
person.
riots
And
are
it's like that's not the. What is it like? For every one unarmed black person shot by a cop, there's like 3 or 4 unarmed white people, and there's equivalent of unarmed Hispanic or Asian or other, But the media only wants to show that because they clearly want that racism in there, that hate that drives fear.
And I feel like the riots when they do the riots, or when the media grabs content from the riots, I feel like the riots are actually looked at worse than the actual incident that caused people to be that angry. So it's interesting the spin that they end up putting on the actual situations and how they, you don't think about this. Yes, they're covering it, and yes, they're giving you some facts, but the visuals that they're giving you, you'll see cars on fire and stuff. Well, what caused somebody to set that car on
Listen,
fire?
mob mentality. When you have like a group of people, they have, it's called like mob mentality. If something goes, if 1 or 2 people end up doing something crazy, in a mob, people will follow. People are natural followers, But yeah, they want to do that. But it's funny because you had during those protests, you also had, black people protecting the cops. Now, whether you agree with it or not, if that wasn't being aired in the media, they just wanted to, because that wouldn't, that would show, hey, not everybody is racist or hateful or whatever. That's not what the media wants to show.
Yeah, that's not shown on the media. You'll find that on alternative, resources, but not.
Like I remember sharing that. Like you saw people on Facebook up in arms, when they were like, how could black people destroy their own communities when they're upset? Listen, civil rights in this country, like it's pretty legit for black people. So that stain is there. Again with mob mentality, you're always gonna have knuckleheads. It was 2 years. These riots happened after the Stanley Cup Finals. You had riots after winning a friggin' trophy that they destroyed a city from winning a sports trophy, okay? You have riots all the time. You have after soccer championships, they destroy cities. God, yeah. So, I mean, like, that just proves mob mentality. But they just wanted to, show the racism and the hate. That's all the media does.
It's freaking agenda.
Fear. So people are scared.
Yeah.
It's the pussification of America.
Oh yeah, they obviously have an agenda, and that's what they're going to push. So going back to your question, it's going to be difficult until you literally just unplug and do something on the lines of like what we're trying to do and say, look, you guys have your own rules that you play by, but then you don't play by them when it comes to us. So therefore, we're never going to win unless we just say, we're done. We don't want to do this. Thank you, but no thank you. We're going to take our people. We're going to work together and do a thing.
So let's say we get those 50 million people, and accountability is then, we start that whole process of, but what happens at that point? What change does that bring?
Well, actually,
The Freedom Act.
yeah, it brings in the Freedom Act. If we have 50 million people, there is a chance that media would be forced to cover it legitimately.
But
especially today's day and age with the internet.
Yeah.
You did just say that media definitely has an agenda. It kind of brings up the question, like, whose agenda is it?
The government?
But I know, but you kind of have to think
Special
about it.
interests.
Okay, so the news gets the ratings, but who's really being brought to light? It doesn't matter the story that they're covering.
We're being brought to light as terrorists.
No, I know, but it's like who's the favorable, who's the one getting the good stuff out of what they. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter the story that the media is covering because they're going to get the ratings. That's all they care about. It doesn't matter about what the content is. They work with what they have. So whatever's going on, so the agenda that they have, if they're like you just said, with the 50 million, they have to start covering it legitimately.
He's just assuming that. Who knows what would really happen?
Yeah, in that case, then I would say, yeah, I think this would definitely, turn tables. It would start.
Yeah, 50 million got up.
Yeah, listen, no matter what the issue is,
just said, who knows?
No matter what the issue is, the point is you need a good amount of people that are just angry and stepping up. Now, however the change may happen, who knows?
That's the key. They have to step up.
Yeah, it's the only way.
They can be angry all they want, but they have to do something. They have to get together and, there's tons of people out there that are fed up with what's going on, but nobody is doing anything. And that's what I don't understand.
Like Congress's approval is fucking in the single digits.
Yeah.
Nobody likes the government.
Yeah.
But they're too afraid.
And they still go out and vote for the same guys.
You guys were talking earlier. Is it actually fear?
Yeah.
Like there's
I think it's all not only fear,
fear of what though?
But they feel optionless, meaning like they don't. There's nothing else out there.
Very good.
It's mixed with fear, and that's what I mean. Oh my God, people want to attack us, and there's nothing else out there to protect us.
I'm sorry, but without
any government,
we're not going to have any, if we were to take away government, we're not going to have issues like ISIS or anything like that because we're going to be out of their countries. They're not going to want to mess with us.
No, you'll still have even without government, you'll still have.
Well, you're always.
I'm not saying ISIS in particular,
feuds.
but you still will have, especially in the Middle East, you'll have religious radicals out there that expect you to live by this book.
Yeah. They're still going to want to force.
I mean, you're talking about even with the Bible. The Bible is taken, like, historically. They're like, no, the Earth wasn't. Like the Earth wasn't created billions of years ago. You morons! Them scientists are
Flat.
crazy. Not according to my book, written by men.
Funny, weird.
Written by man because God talked to them. I'm like, that I've gotten in debates with that. It's funny. I'm like, it's still written by a human. Yeah, but written by a human through God. Yeah, but the hand was still a human. Yeah, but God talked to him. You got to believe God talked to him. So, which makes it God. All right.
Yeah. Oh, God. I don't know.
But so what do you think would happen? Like if we were start holding people accountable, what do you think the outcome of that would be?
Don't know. I don't.
Like would things get better?
If we held them accountable?
Yeah.
So let's say we had
things
50.
get better from there, or would it just be okay now people
It would have to get better.
I would love this. I mean, I would imagine
So
if
maybe
there was a
that's the first
system that
step.
was in place with accountability. I mean, we might be having a different conversation if the system had accountability.
maybe that's the first step of
I'm not saying it's the right thing, but you had zero accountability for so long.
No, yeah. If we had accountability and these people were put like on trial, I have a fist fight going on in my studio.
getting tagged in.
Brian's back on the air.
See, I don't think it would get better if you held them accountable, because I think they would just put someone else in there who's just as fucking evil.
Well, no, I'm thinking.
But would that scare them to do the right thing and not
No,
to?
it wouldn't. I don't think.
Who would put someone else in there?
The government, whatever their agenda is, they're gonna
Whoever's
keep
left.
trying to do it. They're just gonna put another puppet
Wait a minute.
there.
I'm under the assumption that we're talking about a free, like we're losing the government now, and we're taking these government officials accountable.
But is that the key
Okay, you
though?
hold
to
someone
removing
accountable.
federal
Well, all right,
government
you
or
remove-
to changing?
You remove that person, and then they put another person in there.
If
Or
you-
you're
But
just
who
saying-
would put the other person? Everybody's gone. They're all corrupt. They're all in jail.
yeah, but
You're
look,
kind of you take everybody away.
It
and you're
doesn't
back
matter.
to square
There's
one.
still an agenda.
Yeah, of the top 10 contributors of the Republican.
you can't talk without a mic. Sorry, it doesn't sound. I'm getting like an echo and crap. But here's my thing: if we remove the government and there's no government,
But you
But-
can't just remove the government.
No, I know-
You have to take steps.
I know that.
Accountability would be one of those steps.
And Brian's
So-
right. If we just take these people, hold them accountable.
Because you're not removing government.
Yeah, that's okay. My apologies. I'm a fucking idiot. I'm thinking like, oh, we're holding the entire government accountable. We're gonna kill them all. I wouldn't want that. I would just, want to say go
Throw,
away.
Fill the
throw,
jails
throw
with
them
their
in a
asses.
cage.
Yeah, throw them in a cage for being these people. Oh, he lost the mic. Oh God. Oh man.
Here we go.
I was just talking about like from the start, like if there was accountability. Like I mean, America was founded in 1776. So if there was accountability from the beginning in government, I'm just saying history would be a little bit different. I don't know if it's the right thing or whatever. I mean, but bottom line
Well,
is,
look-
I mean, like I agree with you, Bri, when you sat there and said if you had accountability, they would put somebody else in.
Yeah.
But who would put somebody else in? You look at the top 10 contributors to each party, it's the special interest group. So I agree
Absolutely.
with you, and they're the ones
Absolutely.
that will still put play. So, like, if a president was to make the changes like you wanted or whatever, right now, somebody was elected in there, they would take him out, whatever, and put their own guy in.
You
So
you
that's the people. It's
Yeah.
the special interest. I mean, it's the big.
All right. Well,
I mean, I know
here's
you
the
don't
thing.
guys don't like it, but it's corporations right now
Oh, no,
that puts
I
them
think
in
corpora-
place.
I
That
think-
use government.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They use government. It's horrible. Yeah.
If Yeah, so that's the issue. If we had a government and we just got 50 million people together and held these people accountable, someone else is going to move right in, and it's the same shit that's going to happen all over again. If we did this back in 1776, which we did, and the Constitution is supposed to hold all this shit accountable, it doesn't work.
Well, it
The
never happened.
No, right, exactly. So the Constitution doesn't work.
Yeah,
I
the
don't
government
believe
doesn't
it was ever
follow.
planned to work.
Well, the government doesn't follow any constitution. Other governments have constitutions. They don't follow them.
Yeah, that's...
They
Well,
just do whatever they want.
Okay,
So does that answer your question? That's what I'm asking.
And it's a contract that I never signed. So, I mean, there was those people that signed it. Yeah, they can have their government, but
yeah.
I never signed it.
No contract can last forever.
No.
Unless the new people
and the
that
people
move
who
in
signed it are dead. I mean,
and been
the
dead for
contract
a
is
long
done.
time.
Yeah. So basically, well, okay.
But does that answer your question?
No, not really, because here's my thought process is now. Don't get mad at me.
Well, go ahead.
Throw
Ask your
hands.
question.
Is okay. So we start holding people accountable. It's going to take some time for people to come back into those positions. Whoever those new
No, it's
people
not.
are going to be.
They're still governed there, and they put whoever they want into them.
Well, at that point, through this process, would that be a good opportunity to say, okay, now let's get rid of federal government? I mean, at that point, they'd be weak. You know
No.
what I'm saying? Like,
No, because there's people behind the federal government, which are the
Big
special interest
corporations.
groups.
Yeah.
So you have to remove the tool. You have to remove the federal government
but that's what I'm saying. How do you do that?
by taking as many people as you can and defending yourself. That's the only way you can
Defending
actually
yourself
do it.
when they start knocking on your door during Jade Helm.
No,
or
like what
during
what we
martial
want to
law?
do.
Like,
We
when,
want.
When does this happen?
All right, hang on. Let him
We
answer your question.
want to move to an area that we're all like-minded, and we want to stop paying taxes, and we want to tell the federal government we're done. And if they want to come in, then we're gonna defend ourselves.
And
That's how.
So
That's how.
basically, we only remove the federal government for ourselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm fine with that. If other people want their government, they can have it.
Yeah, how do you force people to not have a government?
Because there's
No,
gonna be people that want government, which is majority of people think they can't live without government.
No, I know. That's
Yeah,
okay.
Removing
But-
government would be like trying to remove religion. I mean, you're not going to do it throughout the whole world. So, I mean,
Yeah, people are gonna want
So, like
relig-
Brian
they're
said,
gonna
the
want
only way
everything.
you could really do it is we recognize what's going on, we understand, so we want to live on our own, and hopefully by example, and people could follow our lead if it,
Yeah, or not.
or not, because I mean the reality is to remove federal government or remove government period is it really is impossible as a whole,
Well-
in my opinion, as a whole,
Yeah,
throughout
but
the whole
those
world.
if those people that want their government, they can have it.
Oh yeah, no doubt,
You know?
definitely. I'm just talking about clearing it altogether. Like you're not gonna ever. I don't
You
think
know.
you'll ever put an end to it.
Because some people are going to want somebody to do something for them in exchange for something else, whatever it may be. And so I think that Holly's a little bit nervous about cops showing up at your door before we get like 16,000 people. So if that happens, we're shit out of luck.
Yeah, because Jade Helm is starting in July.
Right.
And
The-
goes
the-
till September.
But they're not coming to every state, number one. Number
No,
two,
but this is just the beginning.
Right,
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying? Like,
But they've been
they don't-
doing this
but
for
this
years.
Is the beginning for somebody else. What if people in California? What if they don't want federal government?
Then they
They're-
have to-
They're having podcasts right now. So basically, you're saying there's nothing we can do. Yeah, I'm scared.
I know you
because
are. And that's completely fine.
With martial law and all the executive orders, we're done. We're done.
Okay,
We're,
well,
like.
now you're being like pessimistic and you can't think
Yeah.
like
No,
that.
no. I completely feel that the plan that you have in place.
Well, my
would
plan's
work.
not perfect, so don't
No,
make
no.
it sound
But
like
I feel like it would work because we have the right to secede. We do.
but that doesn't stop a government from coming after us.
No, I know. No, I know. But if the word gets out of what we're trying to do and that we're doing it peacefully,
Right, but you have to understand
like-
that if they come to your door before we get 16,000 people, like-minded people in an area, Brian brought up a fact, well, what if we like grew from a small place and had like our own businesses and we were growing our own social community, not just people hanging out, but businesses that are in the like-minded ideas that we have. And I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, like your neighbors are like-minded.
Yeah.
Like right next to you.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely hope it
That doesn't
leans
work.
towards that.
That doesn't work, fool. It doesn't work. You don't have a mic. You had a lot of time to talk.
Good idea.
But
No,
no,
it's-
unfortunately,
It's
if,
probably my biggest fear, so I do apologize
Yeah.
that it's coming off
if
definitely
something
like that.
right, if something like that were to happen, unfortunately, it's every man for himself. If a cop knocks on your door right now and says, "Hey, we're throwing you on a train and you're heading over to a camp," Jade Helm's here, bitch. Uh-oh, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? So you can't focus on that because if that shit happens, good luck. All we can really focus on is getting people who want to be free from the federal government as well as local government. We have to understand the big issue is definitely federal government right now.
Yeah.
And we can't take on all governments on all fronts at the exact same time.
I don't see that being popular with the people, with what she was talking about, because of all this cop shootings and everything, and people aren't really trusting cops and all that. So I don't think
Texas-
government would really do something yet with that.
People in Texas are actually offering their lands
To
free
police?
of charge to police, to the military, to practice on. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
Who?
well, either way.
What do you mean who?
I mean,
These are
the people of Texas are not doing that. I mean, people
they
are,
are.
not the people of Texas. Some select people. You have to. I mean, it may be 50 people. It may be
But-
4.
And if they do anything with that now, it's just not popular. So I don't. See
Yeah,
it
I don't
happening
think-
now.
I don't think
Maybe in
that
the
Jade Helm
future.
is gonna come right now. And if it does,
It
no,
start.
no, not. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the training and everything,
yeah.
but
No.
seeing
Jade
it
Helm
with
is
your
the
eyes.
training for martial law.
No, I
Right.
know, but seeing it with your eyes on the streets, I don't think that's going to happen because it's not popular.
We
you know?
have been seeing it on the streets.
No, we've been seeing riots.
No. I've been watching YouTube videos of around the country, different police forces doing.
Yeah, no, I know
going through
training,
military
I know training, but
practice
actually
with
using
civilians.
No, yeah, but actually using this, I don't see them using it yet.
Look, the
I know they're training, but I don't see them using it. You know,
So how
because
far?
it's
How
not going to be
far
popular.
do you think martial law is from right now?
I would say,
I don't know. I can't
yeah.
make that prediction.
If I were to make a guess, we're about 50 to 80 years.
I don't know about that long.
I'm
but
thinking 5.
You're thinking
max.
5 years.
5 years max. Yeah.
Well, you're too pessimistic. I'll say 50 to 80 years. Because let me tell you something. These motherfuckers have had the control for a long time. And at any
But-
point they could have done this.
But you realize they're wrapping it up. They've had the control, yes, but
People
the
have
things
been
that they're
claiming
setting
they've
in
been
place
wrapping
now,
it up for
There's people out there that believe that Obama's never going to leave office. That's
exactly.
how close they think
so
it is.
you're going to believe that?
No, but it's just one of those things where it makes me think, wow, they
Right,
think it's
but-
that close. Why
Holly,
do they think that close?
Me being 10 years older than you, which I'm blowing my spot here. They also thought that when Bush was in office, that he wasn't going to
Yeah.
leave either.
And they thought Y2K was
Yeah.
going to destroy the planet.
They like the same thing that I'm hearing. That's what's funny is everybody thinks the illusion of Democrats versus Republicans and they're one and the same. Is that when Bush was in office, everything we're hearing about Obama right now that you hear the Republicans saying, oh, Obama's not going to leave office, this and that. Listen, like how Brian said, you take one out, they'll replace it with another. Like they're all the same, one and the same. The Democrats were saying that about Bush. Like it's just all part of the, them versus, they're versus each other when they're not. So
Yeah,
it's
people-
just all talking points.
It's been going on for years about how martial law is here. It's been happening. It happened every year since.
the Boston
it's,
bombings, they,
Yeah,
Yeah, you did see it at the bombings.
but you know what was funny? During martial law in Boston, cops and military were knocking on their doors, asking
people
for
were,
everybody's
like,
weapons. They were
handing 'em.
giving
Yeah,
them
they were handing them right
over
over.
with no fight whatsoever. They were like, "Here, take it all." Oh, you know what? I have a couple in the back room. Hang on a sec.
Yeah, but here's the issue with that. That's uncontrollable by us.
Hurricane Katrina, they were actually taking these people's weapons.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The military.
Oh, yeah.
Military was down there.
Yeah, but these things you cannot. I mean, you can worry about it, but if they're gonna bang down your door, then it's kind of. I mean, the only thing I can really focus on right now is getting people together up in New Hampshire and working on a plan. Actually working on it, not necessarily. I mean, talking about a plan, not just talking about how we wish we were free, but actually
Doing
call, making
something.
making like a call to action and saying, here's the first steps. We got 16,000 people. What's the next step?
Well,
Okay, we're gonna start
that's what
saving.
I think if not a lot of other people are thinking about the first step, like what do we, what are the first steps? Do you start rallying? Do you start making your this idea known first and then
This
hit
is
them with the letter or
this is making our idea known.
okay. No, I agree, but it's
I don't have a gigantic audience yet, but I mean, I'm doing what I can currently to get a message out.
You just started 3 weeks ago, so
Yeah. I mean, I know I want this now. I know you want this now, Holly, but this shit takes time. And I know time's not really on our side, but
yeah.
it's the best we can do.
It's just it's like my biggest fear what they're doing right
No,
now, what they have going on behind the scenes
Trust
is
me.
like
I know.
it
I know.
terrifies me.
The
It
problem
really does.
is-
It brings me to tears.
When like a lot of people don't believe like jade helm's really bad. They don't believe any of this stuff is
Oh no, because the mask that is put over it is
oh yeah, overseas training here
Yeah.
for overseas.
Yeah.
The problem is it's not something that we can really deal with right now. We don't have the people. We don't have it's one thing if we had 16,000 people in New Hampshire and Jade started and we could be like, oh, at least we have something, to defend ourselves with. But we're pushing close to 50 minutes. I think I'm going to cut this podcast and I might start it up again. But I need a break. Does anybody else need a damn break?
yes.
Yes.
my butt's going numb.
Yes, your butt's numb? Okay. My neck is killing me. We'll be back, ladies and gentlemen. And if you have anything to say about these topics, you can reach me at thefightforfreedomtoday@gmail.com. We're on Skype actually right now if you do want to call in, which is the Fight for Freedom Today. I'm on Twitter at @TheFF. Is that it? At @TheFF Freedom. I don't remember. I'll get back to you on that on the next podcast. Oh my God. We'll be back, guys.